Hello, boys and girls. I am here with episode 5 of my super cool interview podcast, and I'm going to be interviewing Dave Jurenovich from the band Morgue Terror. Say hi, Dave.
Cheers.
Yes, and he's getting drunk right now. I'm drinking a hot chocolate.
I
So
wouldn't
they're,
say drunk, but frosty beverage.
yeah, I mean, you got to. I mean, I got to drink something in these hard times. So
Yeah.
just yeah, apologies. My webcam is still shit. I have to get that changed. I'm probably just gonna take a webcam from work because this input one sucks. So yeah, death metal band from Buffalo, New York. So let's just get started. Just oh yeah, and real quick. It's gonna since I only set it for 40 minutes because I'm not paying for this shit to be too extended. So at the 20-minute mark, we'll have to start up a new meeting, but it shouldn't be too bad.
Okay.
All right. So to start off, how would you describe the death metal you guys are making, and what are your main goals as musicians? So far, you have a couple of EPs in a split. So, what type of stuff do you want to make down the road, and do you expect that to be similar to your EP?
Okay, loaded question, but I like that. Um, yes, we do have a blend of old school sound and a slam and brutal death metal sound, and I have added some dissonance in our song so far. And because we've done a few EPs and a split and put out two singles this year too, it's time that we do move on in an album eventually. And we just swapped drummers and got a new drummer. So he's been learning our library of all of our 14 songs so far, and it's been going pretty smooth for the most part. Um, what we plan on doing is just being a band, man. I don't like laying low, but right now, because we just got a new drummer, we have to. And after that, we're going to start writing for our first full length. As much as I love albums and shit, not a lot of kids these days that are teenagers or younger don't really listen to full lengths anymore. So I think the right place starting off was putting out EPs, 4 or 5 songs like we did, and then the split came along pretty nicely actually.
Hmm.
We were contacted by Consuming Misery, and Anthropic's one of our best friends in the scene, a really cool grind band, and they mentioned they randomly wanted to do a split with us. And after one band fell off, and this one man project just literally ghosted us when we were about to put out the thing, and we actually had his logo on there, and he just ghosted us last minute.
Like, screw you, man.
Yeah, another kid moment. He's like 16 and was saying
Okay.
that like we weren't communicating right, but honestly, he was kind of make delaying our release even further. Anyways, it ended up being a three-way split, and we were asked to do that, which was pretty sweet. As far as our shows go, we probably pushed about 17, 18 shows already since we started last April playing live.
Mhm.
I would like to actually play more now that we have a drummer that's just as available as the first one that we got. I'd like to do 3 shows a month, give or take, maybe a little more depending if we like do runs and shit. But we all have full-time jobs and lives and partners, so
Yeah.
as much as I'd like to play 150 shows a year, that's not possible in 2025 unless if you're literally like some big ass band rolling in like $1 million a year somehow.
Yeah. Or if you're just breaking even, you just like cut all your expenses and just basically just live on the road like some bands do, but that's not a very pleasant existence. Yeah.
No, it's not.
So do you do like most of your shows? I take it they're like mostly local. Maybe you'll go other parts upstate.
No, actually, we actually got to where we are in Buffalo. We actually got to Southern Ontario for a show. We played with
Oh,
Necrotic Gore Beast, and I got us on Connecticut Death Fest.
okay.
Malignancy played the second night. We played the first night. It was also in the basement of a church, which is pretty brutal. That was one of the best
That is
shows of
metal as
our
fuck.
existence so far. Um, yeah. Xenosis was on the first night. Open Flesh Wound played the second night. They were sweet. Frog Mallow played the second night. There's and the local bands are sweet out of Connecticut. They were really talented. A lot of good talent in Connecticut. We're dying to come back already. Um, that's it so far. We've played with Internal Bleeding, Internal Suffering last summer. Those were two separate shows that were pretty badass.
Yeah.
Um, we're focused on quality, not quantity. Now that we've played a bunch of local shows and we're forcing the traveling thing now, so we're gonna see like where the other 3 members in our band want to go. But I'm down for everything. I've even applied for Slam Dakota and Gulf Coast Death Fest down there in like Texas or Florida, but I've heard no responses. But we want to play better and cooler shows and get out of Buffalo more often. We've played Rochester. We're planning on playing Syracuse next year. We're doing a 3-day run.
You've been everywhere, man. So, like, I actually wanted to touch on something you said earlier. So, like, you mentioned these days, like, kids these days, kids these days. Jeez, I
Yeah, I
sound like
know.
a
I'm
fucking boomer.
not even 38 yet, but I have that logic to it.
Yeah,
So
no, I just wanted to say because, like you said, like I mean, it's totally right. I actually seen there are like some studies confirming it. Like the era of the album is pretty much over. Like most people
yeah,
don't listen to albums from beginning to end. And I will say that before I even got into metal, I don't even think I listened to an album from beginning to end. But of course, now I do it routinely. I think it's mostly for people who like I mean, I do think amongst metalheads they're more likely to from beginning to end. But I do think that there's also like an expectation that this is the song I'm going to be listening to over and over again. So
yeah.
I take it what you're going for with these songs that you want to like not only want to make something like snappy like with your EPs, but you also want to make something that's like like really attention grabbing. Like it could be good, but it might be like doom metal. It might be like a slow burner.
Yeah, I like some Doom, but mainly like the Incantation and Worm kind of
Oh yeah.
Doom. Before Worm went more black metal, but they're still pretty doomy.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. We got some really rad album art. I'm not revealing just yet, but yeah, that is gonna definitely be pushing a lot of shit. Um, yeah, it's we're incredibly excited. I'm gonna try different tuning this time. I've been in drop D, so I'm gonna try somewhere in drop C or C standard. So I'm gonna see where the heaviness comes from. But we're gonna lean in harder for more slammy stuff, and I'm gonna try to write some fast, brutal death metal stuff. I can't play like Eric Lindmark or anyone phenomenal like that, but I'm gonna try to emulate that kind of shit.
I mean,
Um,
might get halfway there.
But I've come to the point where, as much as I love solos, you have to find the right songs in your songwriting process that need shred and don't. Because if you force it in there, it sounds really weird. So, in this band, I have found out where you need shred and where you don't. So, there's a lot in songwriting and music I'm still learning, although I think I'm knowledgeable enough when it comes to music. Um, we're really excited to work on this shit. We don't have a set plan for it for like amount of songs, but we got a lot of really nasty song titles and content. So
I
our
love to
city's
see it.
not built like that. It hasn't been death for quite a while. So it's pretty much like all modern metal and metalcore. So all those grasshoppers are going to see this cover and they're going to try to cancel us. This is kind of what we're going for. So we're going
It's
to test those
intentional.
waters and bring back those brutal roots.
Yeah. I actually want to ask. So, have you? I mean, I think I checked your Metalum page. So, have you been making music for a while, or is this something that you've been recently doing? Because, like, you kind of mentioned that, like, you're still experimenting a lot and trying to find something that really fits your aesthetic.
Yeah. No, I like a lot of music actually, and I have been in bands before, but nothing that's made it out. And from like my teens until mid 20s, I tried out in so many local bands, and I tried my own thing a couple times. I had like a melodic rock, slightly proggy project, and I had band members, and we got offered a show but couldn't play it.
Mm.
But I had like a whole album's worth of material to go, some acoustic shit, some heavy stuff. One song was it was like 7+ minutes, but I couldn't get a dedicated lineup, and we got together a good amount of the time. But that didn't work out. Then I had this really cool instrumental band, three-piece, myself, a bassist, and a drummer. But my buddy on drums moved to Ohio, and my bassist quit and joined some lame rock bands that are boring and repetitive.
Yeah.
But like that band was the most mature shit I've written in my life. It had my prog elements in there. It had an instrumental black metal song, which was weird because I don't really care for black metal.
Do you ever hope?
Um,
Do you ever hope to revisit that project?
Maybe, maybe not, but it's been so long, I don't even remember what the fuck I was playing. So it would probably just have to start from
You didn't
scratch
have
on
any
it.
of that stuff recorded?
I do, yeah. My first band, yes, but you don't want to hear my voice because I was really trying to do everything. But then I found a guy locally that was more like alt rock, kind of grungy, but wasn't the best. But I kind of stuck with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then my now wife had a suspicion he might have been trying to like steal my lyrics and material, but I didn't really see it like that. But um yeah, I mean, it was cool, but I'm more delved in this now that, we put in serious work for this because we got PR, so we got in some really cool features. We got in Decibel magazine for material, and we got in No Queen Singing for a premiere, and a couple other joints.
Yeah.
So, I
So
want to push this band hard, and it's what I'm into right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it definitely seems like I mean, your stuff is really good, so I think you can definitely get some sort of like fan base going. Maybe you can get like I'm not sure if you do like a nationwide tour. I mean, because I'm not sure if you'd want to
I'd
do that.
love to. I'd
I
hate my
mean,
life, but I'd do it.
because like I mean I think the biggest pain in the ass I've talked about this with Evan from Dead and Dripping. The biggest pain in the ass is just gonna be doing your own driving and like hauling your own equipment because like you can't afford roadies. But like if you
Yeah.
love doing it, if like I'm sure you performed a lot. You performed a lot many times. I think I saw it on your channel. So like I'm sure you love doing it.
Yeah, and it doesn't kill me, dude. The problem is we'd have to find like the right venue because my fat ass isn't hauling my cab up and down fucking flight of steps, flight of stairs. So I'm staying low to the ground. I'm really not that agile like that. So I ain't walking up a flight of stairs with a Marshall cab. Let's put it that way.
I mean, at least you don't have to haul up the drum kit. I mean, or unless
No,
you.
but I will help out though. I'm not that big of a dick, just a
Yeah.
little bit if I want to be.
Mm. So I mean, I think like the biggest part is like with when you do all these like shit ass venues. I mean, some of them are good, but other times like these like the club owner's a scumbag and he won't even bother paying you. Have you seen that documentary on the band Anvil?
No, I'm not really super educated on Anvil, but I have seen a lot of instances from friends where they got fucked on payment. But
Yeah.
I can't say I've had a bad experience yet. We even got paid when we played with Necrotic Gorbies because they're from fucking Quebec and they got paid, but they drove all the way to Southern Ontario for a one-off.
Mm,
So
that's
I honestly didn't expect to get paid, but Canada loved us. So far, we haven't worked with anyone bad, whether it's locally here in Buffalo or in Rochester, an hour away, or um, even in another country now in Canada. They were awesome to us, dude. We had like at least 200 plus American and merch sales, and we got paid decently. So it was a great trip for us. Everyone loved us. Virtually most of the fans there, even some band members bought shit.
oh wow. So you netted a pretty decent profit for everyone.
Oh yeah, unusually enough, yeah.
Okay, that's great because like usually like because like I sometimes I see like like when Cryptopsy played here a few years ago, I saw like tickets were like $30, and then there were maybe about 100. This is at the Brooklyn Meadows, and there were maybe like 120 people there, and I just
Okay.
like you got to split that with Cryptopsy, and then the venue has to take a piece, and then you got to split with all the other bands. So like it's great that you were
Yeah.
able to actually get something out of it.
Yeah. And it was a fun show, but it wasn't big like that. So but when my buddy got us on that, he does a fest every summer called Rage Fest, and he got us on that with Internal Bleeding. Throne played two last minute. That was sick. They're pretty much like a black and death band. They're sweet.
Hmm.
Um, he paid us well for that show, and I think it's more about the people once you get to know them more.
Connections.
So I don't think it's really just like an owner being a scumbag generally or stereotypically. I think it's more someone or someone you've known a while that you know how they're going to treat you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you know them better than I do, though. So you have experience with that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, for sure, man.
All right, so let's move on because like you mentioned death. We were talking a little bit about Death Doom earlier. So like I noticing like some hold on. There's a meeting now on 10 minutes. Well, don't worry, we'll just rejoin the meeting because I'm not paying for the full version of this shit. Anyway, so we talked a bit about Death Doom earlier. So like I wouldn't say your stuff is Death Doom, but I do notice some like doomy vibes on it. Is that intentional
Mhm.
or is that just a misreading on my part?
Oh hell yeah, dude! That's me. Bring out some incantation vibes. Because as fast as you want to go, you need mid-pace shit and you need slow shit. You can't stay in one tempo all the time. You can't stay at one speed, so you have to change it up.
You don't want it to
So
be
yeah, that is on
homogenous.
purpose.
Mhm.
Our first drummer we had who did the second EP and everything else, because the first EP was my buddy and I doing guitar, bass, and vocals. We used Old England's drum library. I'll say that I couldn't care less, and that's how we got our first drummer. But he wasn't always down for playing crazy fast shit and couldn't. He was a hardcore drummer growing up, and he didn't even have a rack tom, so he literally always had like a 5 piece every single show. So we were doing groovier stuff with him and got into some faster shit, but not like we weren't consistently playing at like 250 BPMs or something crazy. So he did help us lock in a groove. I'll give him that. He did a lot for us. But when we grew on from the second EP to the split to the singles, we weren't doing anything crazy fast like a few tracks from the first EP, but that's because we didn't have a human. We can make the robot play 350 BPMs if we wanted to.
Yeah. So
So
like
we changed some shit live for a couple of our songs. Because not everyone wants to blast at 250 BPMs for 40-second intervals or 30-second intervals. So, where humans can only do so much or do what your body can allow you now. So
Yeah. I mean, there are some people that are a bit superhuman, but those are way too rare.
those are like the professionals that play 200 shows a year and are physically fit and they have a fucking 10 pack of abs and, can lift 300 pounds and that's not your average guy.
Yeah. So like, are your drummers more like just kind of so like the Doom stuff? That was like a bit of a compromise more than an aesthetic choice, or
It was my choice because I wanted a slow change.
mm,
The song Bludgeoned and Brutalized, which has my obnoxious guitar solo, and it was on purpose.
uh,
Um, it was meant to be for a speed change from like that fast verse in the song. So I wanted something that was doomy in it because I wanted a tempo change for something even slower, and it kind of changes the pace up in that song a little bit.
yeah,
And it does happen in some other songs, I guess you would call it like a doomy part, but it was on purpose because I do enjoy some of that shit. I can only enjoy it if there's death metal. And I mean, I used to enjoy like straight up doom like Paul Bearer and bands like that, but
I like Paul Bear.
um yeah,
Yeah.
like Worm and Incantation, like I already said, that have that doom aesthetic and play songs at like 60 BPMs. But I wouldn't go that far, dude. Worm and like that crazy doom where like one song is 35 minutes.
Well, that's like in drone territory now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I can't do that. I'll die. I love prog music, dude, but like you need more substance in your
Yeah.
music.
You'll be dead before the second note gets hit.
Dude, I'd rather listen to Octavarium for 20 plus minutes with more going on than a fucking 35-minute drone song with like four fucking notes.
Oh man, well that's definitely a spicy take. Some people would say, "Fuck, I'm not listening to Octavarium," even if I
Yeah,
have
I
this
know.
much.
I'm at both opposite ends of the spectrum, dude. I love that kind of shit, and then I love ignorant slam and brutal death metal riffs. So, when I jokingly call people nerd, I'm also kind of a nerd like that, dude. Because even today at work and driving home, I was listening to Opeth all day, one of my favorite bands. So,
Too-
I'm on both far ass ends of the musical spectrum.
You can be like, you can like the biggest poser stuff and the most brutal shit.
Yeah. I mean, my only proud moment in the band is when I play a couple bar chords at the end of Morbid Curiosities, but I don't think the three members of my band want to play 10-minute songs.
No.
So,
Yeah, so you had to make a creative compromise.
yeah.
All right. Okay. So let's move on here. So how did you decide on the name? Or this is a quick question. So how did you decide on the name Morgue Terror, and what inspired a lot of the aesthetic in your music and album covers? Like I take it like Mortician was a big influence. Am I right?
No, I hate Mortician with a fucking burning passion. They're
Oh man.
boring and I can't stand them.
Oh no. All right. Well,
Yeah.
what were your main influences?
Not Mortician because I like to hear music and not fucking 3-minute samples. But Art the Clown is my favorite modern horror character, so I figured I'd throw that aesthetic in with our music, and that's what the band name is named after, and the 5 tracks on the first EP. And our single we put out this year, Terror in the Morgue, is about art as we actually use the character for the single cover. So that's what it's about, basically. The second EP, Violent Murderous Thoughts, was really just about serial killers and shitty people. So it had nothing to do with art. But the third movie gave me a lot of ideas. I'm not putting on the album, but after that, I might do an EP, believe it or not, involving another horror character.
Do you
So
have any?
I have ideas up my sleeve.
Hmm. Which ones are you thinking? Also, the meeting might end in like a minute or two. Just a warning, but we'll have to rejoin. All right. So wait. What characters are you thinking? Unless you
Um,
don't want to spoil that, you want to keep it a surprise.
yeah, I agree.
Okay. All
I
right.
was trying to make an album out of it, but then our original drummer Dustin just said do one song about it. But I think I want to make an EP out of it and do my own 4 or 5 track offering about this idea I have about our meeting up with another horror villain, and then 5 songs about them duking it out and causing mayhem and killing people and blowing up shit and being horror villains.
That sounds awesome. Or you do like what King Diamond did on Fatal Portrait. Like the first half is a concept album, the rest are just regular songs. If you want to.
I like full concept, so that's what I did for our EPs. The album we're doing now that we have a lot of lyrics for, but no music yet. We'll doing that the next couple practices is just pretty much like random gory foolishness.
Hey man, I mean, yeah, that's the aesthetic you're going for. Even though I am still surprised you don't like Mortician, but I guess so. Like, I know you don't like Mortician's music, but do you at least like their aesthetic?
Aesthetic, yes. Music, I wish I would hear that because there's so much time for samples, but no time for
Yeah,
music. And if it
it's like
is,
a
it's like
4 minute
30
song and a
seconds.
90-second sample.
No, no, even longer than 90 seconds. Like the music's not bad, but yo, you're a musician. Give me your goddamn music. I don't want to hear a sample from a movie. If I want to, I'll go watch the movie. So
I,
if the dude actually put out more music and less sample, I would be into it. But the way he has it, it's not for me, man.
yeah.
It's
Do you
boring.
like?
I'm not gonna sit through 3 minutes of samples to hear a minute song.
Well, do you like a lot of those films? That like it's a lot of like old school B horror films, not a grindhouse stuff. Do you like that
Oh
sort of?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like a lot of horror films.
All right, I'm just
Old
waiting.
and new.
No, I'm just waiting for this thing. I think the thing's gonna end in a second. I'm just a little. I'm just on my edge. But all right. Well, let's just keep. All right. Well, let's just keep going here until it actually does end. So, so what does the song writing process look like for you, generally? You already kind of like hinted at it before. Because like, do you guys write? Do you write the riffs and then like does everything get kind of built from that?
Um with our first lineup we haven't written anything with our new drummer Logan yet. Okay, so I'll do this. For the two of us doing the first EP, I was writing lyrics and music. Steve actually wasn't in a band yet that actually played out, so he was kind of new to it. So I was the guy hauling ass. So we were really writing riffs and just like working on lyrics on the side, and then we'd work on lyrics when we would get together. So it was kind of a combination of the both. Um, for the second EP, we actually wrote the first song on the EP Chess Master when Dustin, Steve, and I got together. We actually wrote that song like the first time we even hung out and jammed.
Oh,
So we had a pretty quick connection then, the three of us, and then our bassist Kevin joined after we recorded the second EP. Um, and then it took off from there. So we ended up writing the four songs we put out this year,
mm,
pretty much in like the summer of last year already. So we had it recorded and ready to go by like the fall, but we're rolling out everything.
mm.
So, you never want to like release shit too quickly. So I got really anal about that as far as like not dropping everything too close together and saving your bullets for like when you're not playing shows or need shit to promote. So I've been really focused on that and not dropping everything all at once so you have material and something to promote down the road. So now that Logan's in the band, we've been rolling through our library, and now we've pretty much been doing lyrics when we don't practice or like we just have time at home. And I have like 13, 14 song titles, and like eight of them already have lyrics to them, but that doesn't mean shit until you have music.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to at least have the idea now, so then you can see if it works as music later or not. When,
Oh yeah, and that's why I'm really coming up with as much wicked shit as possible and different sets of lyrics because the phrasing.
All
I'm
right,
good.
back. All right. Anyway, you were saying about themes and shit.
Um, yeah. Second EP was about serial killers. Um, and then we wrote four new songs. Um, shit, I forgot what we're specifically talking about.
I
I
think we were.
blacked out for a minute.
Yeah, shit. Fuck. I think we were talking. We were talking about the songwriting process, and then you were talking about like the stuff that you do. Like I think I was actually about ready to ask. When do you think you come up with your best ideas for music and
Yeah.
songs?
Okay, so when we haven't practiced, when like guys couldn't, I've been fucking with lyrics for a whole Sunday because we jam Sundays. That's when all of our schedules align. Since Logan's been in the band for a few months now. So generally Sundays are when we get together, and then if like one of us can or two of us can't, then I just write lyrics all day. So I just basically find inspiration in all that, and thinking of the most obscene song titles and concepts.
That's
And smoking greens helps too. I've come up with some pretty randy shit while I've smoked a joint, so that has helped. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, so like, are you trying to like go for like as you're just trying to push the envelope as far as you reasonably can with these lyrics
Oh,
and
oh, god, yeah, dude. Give me a minute.
sure.
I'm just pulling up like the ideas I have on here. I literally have like a track list on here. There you go. Sick. All right. Yeah, I'm basically doing that because I told you our city's like all about like kill switch engage ripoffs right now and like metalcore ass stuff. So this isn't really their MO, but our album title is Gorging on Fetal Remains, and yet it is about eating dead kids. So it's gonna be pretty brandy, dude.
That is awesome.
Um yeah, so we're going for the staying in our general style of like blending old school death metal, brutal and slam and some dissonant stuff. So some of the song titles we do have that is a title track, but then I have some other randy ones like ingesting vaginal fluids and bathing in embryonic fluid and vomiting fecal matter is another one.
That is amazing.
Yeah, skull fucked by a sledgehammer is another one I just came up with a month ago that I'm very proud of.
Top shelf, man, top shelf. So
Yeah.
like, do you think like you? I mean, in my experience, when it comes to like creative ideas, I find like I have the best creative ideas like right as I'm falling asleep. Do you think you have that, or do you have them like when you're just doing random stuff throughout the day?
It just happens, bro. It just happens.
Like you're
It'll
mowing the
be
lawn.
from listening to shit. This is another example. I have another title called Cannibalistic Lust. And I was listening to another Buffalo band. They weren't here for long, called Benevolent Creation. And I was listening to the Ten Commandments, and that title just popped in my head because I was listening to Malevolent. So, it can come from anywhere, whether it comes from natural green substances found in the wild, or death metal, or horror movies. Um, yeah, it can be late at night, it can be early in the morning. I've found out shit like creatively for lyrics and concepts like in the morning when I'm getting ready for work or something,
Hmm.
or during my day
You just had that moment.
randomly, and when I'm not even forcing the occasion. So
Yeah.
it just happens whenever, man. I don't always set time for it, but like if I do, I will come up with some kind of lyric content.
So do you also like come up with like riffs, like like when you're just like going about your day, or like does the riffs come when you're like with your guitar in your practice room?
Um, Both, because I've played in a lot of tunings for years, especially like drop D and C and E flat, to where I've played it so much to where I can literally hear the guitar in my head because I know what it's going to generally sound like at every fret. So I literally get like rhythmic ideas and rhythms and shit like throughout the day. If I remember them, hopefully, when I don't have a guitar and when I get home and can like record it on the phone, I can jam it out pretty easily generally. So, it just happens randomly, just like lyrics. It can just incidentally happen even when I'm not listening to music and nothing like influences it, it'll still happen.
Like even completely non-metal influences.
Yeah, from other bands, yeah, it has happened. My other basement bands.
Mm. Okay. All right. That's great. I actually wanted to ask this. We were talking about like influences before. Uh, when I listened to the EPs, I heard like the vocals reminded me a lot of Infestor's vocals. Would you say that is accurate, or maybe not so much?
What Steve is going for, so you're pretty much going for like a young John Gallagher, young Chris Barnes before 6 feet under vibe. Um, Not necessarily going for that kind of style, but I do kind of hear it now that you bring it up. I'm gonna actually, wow, I haven't heard that band in a while. I'm gonna have to re-listen to that shit now that you brought it up.
Mhm.
He was kind of going for like the Buffalo era Corpse style and a young John Gallagher before they were a trio.
Mm.
Um, he's not really going for that style, but wow, that's a classic.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that name in quite a while.
I mean, it is a classic. I mean, it's definitely like one of the lesser known ones, but it's definitely something so essential. But I remember I was listening to it once, and like my brother overheard it, and he was like, "Dude, this is so fucking ass. How could you like this?" I'm like, "You're a fucking poser if you don't like this shit."
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, yeah. So I guess just let me. I guess I guess you can let everyone know if you do hear the Infestor influence, because that's what I. That's like as soon as I heard those vocals, like that sounds like Infestor. Or maybe you could eventually go for like 6 feet under kind of vocals off of.
No, I just, dude, I can talk another 2 hours of how much I hate that motherfucker. So I suggest we don't do that, dude, because you're talking to a guy that has like Barnes means preloaded in his phone, ready to go at any moment someone talks shit about him.
All right. Well, we'll save that for another podcast then, because that sounds
Yeah.
very entertaining. All right.
Oh yeah.
I would love to. I'm sure a lot of people would love to hear that. But anyway,
Oh, dude, let's get his ass on here. Let's talk shit, dude.
oh man, I'll just be like the neutral party while you two talk it out, or I'll just sit here looking pretty. All right, okay, all right. So anyway, so I actually wanted to ask. You guys did a split with Anthropic and Consuming Misery. So what was I mean, and you, also that other band that dipped, but he's teenage hormones and all that shit. So what was working on that like? Would you say that was like a great experience? Did you learn a lot on that experience, or was it just great to be working with other bands you really like?
It was great to be working with Consuming Misery Rules. If you haven't heard them, there's some really sick
Mm.
classic death metal with a little brutal style. Um, yeah, Nick Rules, a vocalist, orchestrated a lot of this shit, and I was orchestrating shit. Jim, the drummer in Anthropic, actually got CDs printed, and I know that was one of your questions. We do have CDs of all three main releases available on
Mm.
Bandcamp. Um, we uh, we worked together pretty well, and that kid just kind of fucked everything up because the three of us had our shit ready to go, and then like it literally took him until like 2 weeks before we were gonna drop the whole thing to get his logo done.
Oh
And
man.
then the artist that he was working with took his sweet time, and it was just a shitty time with him. So we
How,
just made it a three-way split, and we had the art with his logo on it for his solo project.
how'd you get him on if he's like, how'd you like recruit him?
Nick knew him, the vocalist from Consuming Misery. He had another project before, and he apparently got like booed off stage or something, so he wanted to give him a shot on this split with the songs he had ready.
Oh, that's gotta sting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I mean, when you're, I mean, I noticed that like when you're young, like you don't really know what you're doing. So give him a couple years, he'll mature, and maybe then you can look back on, you can find some, maybe you can do a split at that point. All right.
Yeah, maybe by then he'll put out a better album than Graveyard Classics, hopefully.
Well, that's not a very high standard, man. All
That's
right.
a point.
So it says you guys aren't signed to a label. Do you intend on staying independent, or maybe you want to get signed to something?
I mean, if New Standard Elite comes rolling a lot, I wouldn't mind working with New Standard Elite. Um, but we are putting out a T-shirt with a brutal mind that we are having shipped to us now, which we're going to be announcing in a little bit.
Hmm.
But I asked the owner of that, and he actually would be interested in listening to our music that we're going to be working on for Gorging on Fetal Remains. So we might actually have distribution for our first full length with Brutal Mind if he's interested in our new tunes that we're going to work on shortly.
No.
But another label I wouldn't mind doing is 20 Bucks Spin because they got a lot of different diverse shit.
Hmm.
And they do have a lot of standard death metal too in their catalog of bands. But I'd rather stay independent because I think it's pretty sweet to just do all the hustle yourself. But we'll see how far that takes me.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, I might be completely wrong on this, but when you're independent, when you put all your shit on streaming services, you make more money than if you're on a label. Do you know if that's true or not, or you wouldn't know?
Yeah, I'm. My wife thinks I'm literally obsessed with it. I'm constantly checking our stats online, whether it's like for our Linktree or for our streaming services and through Bandcamp, and I'm looking at it and monitoring the demographics and like how much we're bringing. So we are seeing a good amount off of streaming services already in our year plus of having music online. Almost two if you count our singles we put out at the end of 2023.
Hmm. Oh, so like,
So it has been fruitful. I would like to say that it hasn't been that bad. And obviously, the PR has helped to get us international listeners and an audience outside of this continent.
mm,
So I would like to say that has a lot to do with it as well. But also, you have to work your ass off. You can't be a lazy piece of shit.
yeah,
So you have to
and
push your music. You have to push your shows. You can't do everything online. So you have to get out and push your shows and push your releases. I handed out flyers I made for our first EP to get people to go to our websites and listen to shit. So, you got to do more than what's online in front of you on your computer or cell phone.
yeah. I mean, it's hard, especially since you got to balance that with like you have a job, you have a wife, and so you got to balance all that shit. But I'm sure it must be worth it in the end if you're willing to like do all that.
Oh yeah, and she's an artist too, is a vocalist and keyboard player. So she supports my dreams with the band and what I've done so far. So, it's like I married some standard ass woman, so she gets my artistic goals and tendencies and what I'm running with our band.
Is she in a?
So,
Oh, sorry.
I just have that support, not just from like an average person that's not a musician, so she gets it.
So is she in a metal band or like some other type of music project?
Um, she used to be in it. She was in a band at her old church as a kid and a traveling worship band in the area, but she since left that sector. And I'm proud to say she has gotten into some death metal too. Recently in the last couple of years, even Dying Fetus. So, on that sense, I'm really proud of her.
That's awesome.
But
So
she
yeah,
does enjoy deathcore and metalcore. So, the heavy shit has come around with her big time.
yeah, you gotta take the good with the bad, I guess.
Yeah, and she's leaned off on all the prog bands I like between The Buried and Me and Animals and some Zappa and King Crimson. And I've introduced her to a lot of shit. And even Imperial Triumph, that shit's weird, and she loves that shit too.
Yeah. I still mostly listen to metal, but I'm so thankful for all like the people who introduced me to stuff that's not metal. Like, I know Creedence Clearwater Revival and Gentle Giant are not metal, but like, fuck, those guys are so awesome.
Yeah,
I can't limit myself to just metal, even though it is like 90%. Actually, I would say these days it's more like 80% of what I listen to. But nah, you should never just limit yourself to what
yeah.
just metal. That's good.
100%. Music is love, man, and music is a love language, and shared music is love. So,
Yeah.
when people do that to me, I give it right back to them. You recommend me bands, I'll do the same to you. Artistically, I get it because you're sharing shit you're passionate with, and they're sharing stuff that they're passionate about musically. So, to me, that really is like a love language to me.
Yeah, and it always, this is just my personal rant. If I may get on my soapbox a little bit, I always just don't like it when people, if you want to listen to like what's mainstream, that's fine. I have no problem with that. I just find it like, why would you only want to listen to stuff that's mainstream? I know quite too many people that are just listening to the shit that's just mainstream. I was at work the other day, and then like this some girl asked me, "Hey, did you listen to the new Taylor Swift album?" I'm like, no.
Yeah, I can talk about that for hours too. So, yeah, you can keep on going.
Mm,
But
yeah,
that problem,
yeah,
people don't have enough sources and they think like their chatter with their friends and like their direct friend circle is like the be all end all. They don't go on to blogs, they don't go on Bandcamp because I'm sure they don't know what the fuck Bandcamp is. I'm sure they don't check out new releases every single week because I'm sure there's some band you haven't heard of that put out an album not on a Friday because bands don't release shit not on Fridays, believe it or not.
just whenever you
That's
want.
been a thing for a long time now. And I'm sure they don't go to a lot of local shows, so I'm sure they don't know shit about their local scene.
Mm,
So I'm sure they're the kind of folks that only go to stadium shows and 40,000 seater shows.
mm.
So I think some of it is also just being short sighted on someone saying that like music is dead these days, but they're not digging deep enough because they haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, like it's so democratized now. Like it's not like it was 30 years ago where you're just limited to what they sell at the album store. You go. Yeah, a lot of metalheads might look down on streaming music, and I'm sure you know a few, but it's oh, but at the same time, it's been something that just you have access to so many artists and so many genres, and you have to just explore a little bit because like okay, it doesn't have to be metal, but it just has to be some genre that isn't mainstream.
Yeah.
Fuck, make it classical if you want.
Yeah.
But I can go on all day about that myself. But we don't have all night over here. All right.
Yeah.
I think I wanted to add your point because you said I haven't been to a very I think the biggest show I've been to would maybe had about 500 people, and I think with the smaller
Wow.
shows it's a lot better because
Yep. Yep.
there's a lot
Yep.
more camaraderie there. It's a lot more
Yeah.
personal. You can actually like talk with the people next to you.
Yeah, and you can talk to the band without having to pay $400 to meet them.
Yeah.
So that's why I love small shows. But I think the biggest one I've been to was like when Rush came to Buffalo and we sat in those meetings and I did not give a shit.
Oh, you
And that was
what?
for their 40th.
Mm.
So I was like, I don't care what the price is, get my fat ass in there and I'm gonna see Rush.
Yeah.
But I do not enjoy those big shows at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't see like Metal. I wanted to go see Priest a few years ago, but like, I just couldn't be bothered, even though they were like 10 minutes away from me. But that's how it goes these
Yeah.
days.
Value when you get older, man. A $10 local show has more value than a $500 big show. Imagine the amount of shows you can see for $10, $20, $30 and a $500 ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
Do the
That's
math.
cost BSD to do that cost benefit analysis.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's keep going on here. So, like, I checked your YouTube channel. So you've done some live shows. Blah blah blah. So you also have a music video for Broken Beating and Beheading. So beheaded. So like, you want to quickly talk about that? What was filming that like, and why did you choose to film that song specifically?
Um, that was our second single from the first EP. Kind of think it was more mid-paced and not super quick, really. So it was a funner song per se, and it's about the ending of the second Terrifier movie
Mm,
when the brother and sister Jonathan and Sienna are battling Art. So that's what the song is really all about, the ending scene of the second movie. But we kind of portrayed that in a way. And I actually had one of my friends initially wanting to dress up as Art. He was a really tall dude, but then when I got the suit in the mail, I'm like, dude, I'm thinking you fit into this shit. It's like really small. So I got another one of my friends to fit into it. So although the person dressed up as Art isn't intimidating and like a height stature, we still got this shit done.
mm-hmm.
But it was a fun shoot. We got to go in this like big ass building. It had like
Was it like an abandoned building? It looked abandoned.
no, there were parts of it that weren't modeled, but like there were a ton of companies in there. A restaurant was in it. It was in downtown Buffalo somewhere. It was a pretty sweet experience actually, and yeah, it was fun, man. I wanted to get something out for us, and that video was dropped on Decibel magazine, which was pretty sweet. I still got that tab on my phone for like when I have shitty days. I'm like, my band came to Decibel before we even played a fucking show and had a full band.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a pretty fun time. We had a bunch of ideas. We were rattling off of each other, and that's what we came up with.
Yeah. It seems like you had a wild time with it.
Yeah, I even bled during that, and we should have used
Oh,
that as actual footage in the video.
wait. How that happen?
My mother-in-law made us a weapon like Art used in the second movie that's got like the nails in a piece of wood, and my friend that was playing Art accidentally hit me. Because we were obviously faking and miming everything we were doing. And I didn't know I got hit in the dark on accident. And then the middle, like right here along the bridge of my nose, literally just started bleeding.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like it was that bad.
I mean, it bled for like 30 minutes, dude, but I didn't get anything like along the floor of like the main building where the security was. And if you saw in the beginning of the video, we had the guy actually in the video, and he was pretty cool playing the security guard
Oh,
of the
okay.
actual building we were in. That the guy we worked with had his office set up there.
That's that's good to see you're okay now, man. Yeah. So you just hired actors off the street. No, that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's move on now. So, like, I kind of asked you at the beginning. So, like, on your Metal Archives page, it seems like this is the first real band you've done work with. But so, have you been always wanted to start a metal band, or is this like a relatively recent thing, or you just have not been presented with the opportunity until just recently?
I have not succeeded until now to have a band that actually plays shows. So I've always been a metalhead, and it started with like classic and thrash when I was a kid and like
All
10,
starts
12
with
years
Metallica.
old. Eventually, yeah, but my first introduction was Master of Reality, and that was my first album. So,
Sabbath.
um,
Rest in peace, Ozzy.
yeah. So Sabbath was everything for me, but I was always into heavy music, but I didn't get anything like screaming or growling probably until I was like legal. Because I was pretty much a boomer in my teens. I was like, I can't handle any screaming or growling, and it all has to be songs. So it took a while to get into that part of the genre. So um, yeah, that was the kind of shit I was into, like Sabbath, Megadeth, Maiden, Dio Priest, Annihilator, um, Motorhead, all that classic stuff.
Well,
So
what
I didn't
kind of
even get
like
into any like heavy vocal shit until like I checked out the American wave of heavy metal between like Trivium and Killswitch and Lamb of God and God Forbid and Shadows Fall, and then I got into Between the Bear to Me, and Tommy's voice was even heavier than Randy's and any of those other guys. So I eased my way into it, and then when I got into death metal, that just sorted and doesn't bother me. In fact, I long for that shit now.
yeah, you start to crave it. So, what was like your first like death metal album that you really got into? Would you say was it like
Oof.
Cannibal Corpse, maybe Deicide or Morbid Angel?
Oof. Holy shit. I gotta rack that one. Um I don't know. I was really big into Decapitated when I was starting to listen to death metal and still am. Um, it would have to be like one of Death's albums probably because you kind of go for like that shit. So I saw their covers. I'm like, this is phenomenal.
Early death or maybe later death?
I don't know. My favorite is Sound of Perseverance, but I was always attracted to Scream Bloody Gore for its raw simplicity. Honestly,
I mean,
it probably was a death record, but I was pretty big in, and still am into Suffocation and Obituary. So
yeah.
I actually don't know what my first death metal album was. Honestly, as poser as that sounds, because it's been decades since I've been into that genre. So
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Death is probably it's. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Death album, or maybe it might have been a Cannibal Corpse album. Maybe you think, or maybe that might came later.
no, I actually didn't like them until like 15 years ago. As much as my own city would probably kill me if I
The
told all of
ghost of
them
Chris
about it.
Barnes will come for you.
Hey, the stuff he did with Corpse is great. It's everything after that that was not great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I actually don't know what album got me into death metal or what was like my first one, but like for classics, a lot of my favorites, I'd probably say like Scream, Bloody Gore, and Perseverance. Then for Suffocation, it's definitely Effigy.
hmm
Um, the Decapitated albums between like Ruins of Creation and Nihility are sick, and even Organic and Carnival are great albums. Um, then I like a lot of underground shit too. Like if you know Gore Lust, they're pretty sick. That's a great record. Um, a lot of other cool shit. Um, Scattered Remnants, Repudiation, pretty great bands. Of course, Regurgitation, one of the best bands ever that no one talks about enough.
All right, well, we're talking about it now then.
Oh yeah, I mean we are now, but like more people should because they put out one of the most influential albums ever.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, would you say like maybe like I mean, you talked about that. Would you say like you used like melodic death metal as like sort of a bridge, or you might have skipped over that because you said
I,
opeth. But
yeah, that's more proggy shit. Straight up melodic death metal. Like I was into At the Gates and In Flames for a minute. They're pretty solid bands.
hmm,
Um, yeah, that kind of was because At the Gates really is just fucking death metal with a metalcore edge, and that's what really spawned the metalcore revolution.
hmm,
Was just added singing. So yeah, I mean, I guess melodic death was a way, but I was always into those bands, Obituary, Suffocation, all those bands I just rattled off were like some of my first like 10, 15 death metal bands into the genre that I got into.
yeah. I mean, no matter how deep you are into it, you're still like thousands of bands you have to discover. So some of them might not be great, but others are probably just your next classic. You're just waiting to discover.
Oh yeah, 100%. And this is the best genre for one album bands and shit. We can talk about that for hours and hours.
No, but we only
Baphomet, one of the best bands ever in our city. Great album with Dead Shell and Heron, and then they just dropped off the face of the earth, dude.
Some people say that it's best to just if they have one masterpiece and don't release anything after that, it's best to just leave it at that because the follow up is just going to be a massive disappointment.
Yeah, that's not really bad way to think about shit. But on the other hand, it's like as a musician, you want to create shit and keep creating. So like you put out one masterpiece and then form another band. It's like,
Eh, you might not have the same edge as the original.
yeah, it's a tough boundary, man. It really is.
It's hard, especially when it's revered as such a classic. It's a really like you might not even want to try to create because it's probably just going to be this big disappointment.
I mean, shit. Dying Fetus and Obituary put out classic albums if they put out their great debuts.
Mm. Well, yeah, some
They
people
didn't.
just
They didn't stop after one album.
yeah. Well, some people, I guess, like some people just don't feel like they used all their best ideas, and then afterwards they're like, "Oh fuck, we're just kind of like running out of steam here." I don't know. You can't get
Yeah,
into the psychology of every band.
yeah. Theory that I've discussed with some friends is some bands have like a lifespan of albums, and like after a handful of albums, you start to lose steam in a way. Like after your first like 5 albums, not many bands. Let's just talk about it that way. Like how many bands that have put out like 10, 12, 15, 20 albums, even like hundreds of albums like Frank Zappa has, even after he died.
Yeah,
Like how there's a limit to how many great albums and releases you put out until you eventually hit a wall.
yeah. I think in my experience, I've noticed that, especially with like all the best known bands, the later stuff, it's like, yeah, it's definitely not as good as the original stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means it's not as good. And I think the
Yeah,
biggest thing is that the songs just tend to be a bit more forgettable than the original stuff. And I think
yeah,
another confounding variable is the fact that production is like very homogenous these days. Like a
yeah,
lot. I mean, not every genre, but a lot of especially more well-known artists, they like the production sounds a lot more similar to each other than dissimilar. So it becomes harder to really separate like their like the good stuff from the bad stuff or the mediocre stuff rather.
yeah.
That's
And
just
some
my
of those
opinion.
bands hurt themselves in that way because they put out so many great albums. They have this high of an expectation after putting out such great albums, and probably some of the best ones I can reference are Crisian and Cataclysm. They started off really great, and then they just kind of petered out over their last couple of releases.
And they're never gonna get to that point again.
Yeah. Um, and then even another good one is our band, Malevolent Creation, another one that came out of here. The
Yeah, we've
first
talked a
couple
lot about
records were
Malevolent Creation.
flawless, and then after Ten Commandments and Retribution, it's been a huge revolving door of band members.
Yeah.
And a lot of those albums have been lackluster. Some ones have been a little better than others, but like a perfect two album start to that band's career between The Commandments and Retribution is like, how are you going to follow that shit up? And you're constantly losing and gaining members, and you can't even keep a chemistry.
Yeah, I mean, how I mean that actually does. I mean, how important do you think chemistry is to a band's success and longevity?
Very.
And
Whether you're talking about like personalities or like work ethic or, promotion, all that. Whether it's songwriting, pushing your shows, ideas for music, lyrics, ideas for merchandise, like all of that is important because if you have no chemistry, you're not going to work out whether you're going to be a band for a couple of years and then peter out, or you're going to be a band for a long ass time because you have to work together to get all this shit done. It's not done in the snap of a finger.
you know,
You got to contact people to make your art, and or if you do your art yourself, that's cool. Um, you got to write your own music. You can't pay people to do that. You could, but that'd be really cheesy.
yeah, that's like all the pop artists do.
Yeah. And you just have to put the hustle in. You just can't expect people to do shit for you. So, like I've already said, you got to push your own shows. You can't pay people to do that. I mean, you got to put in the work one way or another, whether you're putting shit online and going out to some shows locally and getting the word out there because, no one's going to do your work for you really locally.
Yeah.
You can like have your own friends and fans that'll like push your shit and releases and shows, but in the end, as a band member, you have to do that to an extent.
Yeah. You gotta you gotta give your piece, and you can't just. But it's gotta be like an assertive relationship. You gotta give your piece, and you gotta have other people contribute their piece, so it can form like a cohesive unit, and you
Yep.
actually produce something that's actually good. Because otherwise you'll just risk the fatigue that so many bands fall into. Uh, yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I guess
definitely.
we're gonna move on to some miscellaneous questions, unless you have something else you want to add.
Yeah, Chris Barnes sucks.
Well, I think I'm not sure if you mentioned that already. All right.
No, I just want to make sure anyone watching this knew that.
I don't. I hope Chris Barnes is not watching this, unless you want him to be watching this. You want to tell that motherfucker he sucks to his face.
I mean, that's cool, dude. It gets us more views and it spikes the algorithm.
Yeah. Oh fuck. All right. Well, because like our Zoom meeting is gonna run another 10 minutes, so I guess we should hurry this up. So all right. So
Okay.
let's make it. So how many? So do you listen to many genres of metal? Do you mostly stick with death metal and adjacent stuff? I think we already kind of just I guess just do a quick over.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of proggy shit too, so I'm all over the place, honestly.
Mhm.
So, I listen to instrumental stuff and guitar virtuosos like Vine, Satriani, and instrumental stuff like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and Animals as leaders, and Polyphia, and um, guys like that.
Mm.
So I'm not too pigeonholed, but I kind of know what I'm going to get into generally.
Mhm. It
Even
actually,
intervals, he's a
yeah,
really good guitarist. Aaron Marshall rules.
yeah. So that actually does kind of lead me into my next question. This is like a classic question I love to ask metalheads. I'm sure you've heard the hypothetical. You have to bring 3 albums to a desert island, but here's a catch. You cannot bring anything that is either metal or metal adjacent. So you can't bring any metal or punk or hard rock. You can bring rock, but you can't bring like heavy rock. So what albums do
Yeah.
you think you're bringing to that island?
Okay, number one, I'd bring in shit, in the Court of the Crimson King for
Oh,
my weird moods
my
for
dad hates
sure.
that album.
Yeah, hates
Uh,
it.
yeah. Hmm?
Would you say he hates it?
My dad doesn't like that album. I'm like, how can you
We're gonna
take?
have a long talk.
All right, so what would you say for the other two?
Ah, fuck. Um, I'd have to bring some Django Reinhardt. He's my favorite jazz guitarist, so I'd probably bring one of his albums or like a collection. I know he's got like compilation. They have compilations of his songs. Um, for like if I'm feeling like jazzy, that dude was a legend. He only had three guitar fingers. He had a smoking accent and lost his pinky, so he actually was only playing with these three fingers.
Kind of like Jerry Garcia. Actually, which I don't
Yeah,
remember which I don't remember which one was Jerry Garcia. I don't remember which one he lost his finger on. I think it was
I don't know. I'm not a hippie, so I don't know that
yeah.
shit.
And what would be album number three?
Oh fuck.
See, I like this question. It gets metalheads thinking.
Um, I'd probably do which one of those? It's obviously another prog album because that's what I'm really hot for. Shit. Um, no. All right. I'm gonna take back my Django answer just
Okay.
because I've got to put another one of my favorite artists in here. I'm gonna put in Porcupine Tree, Sphere of a Blank Planet because Steven Wilson's one of the best artists ever,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm inserting uh, Opeth's Sorceress. So
Okay.
those three records would be my non-death metal adjacent records I'd bring to this island.
I haven't listened to that Opeth record. Is so I take that just like what kind of album is that? Is like an acoustic album or something?
Oh no, they had an era where Michael was in Growling on record, and that was one of them.
Mm.
And although the production is shit, the songs are pretty rad. Um, it's one that's got the peacock on it. It's pretty sweet.
All right, I'll give it a spin. Even though like I've told you should never listen to Opeth, I'm like fuck that. I'm gonna listen to what I want. All right.
Yeah, Frederick goes crazy on that shit. If you're in a guitar, he has some really sick leads, and one song has a really sweet keyboard and guitar trade-off section.
Mm. All right, yeah, all right, that's on the list. All right. So just I think all right, again, I guess this is a bit redundant, but so what are your favorite bands, either influences or not? And there are any deeper cut bands you think people ought to check out?
Um, Deep cut bands. Wow. Um, One of my favorites is Coronary Thrombosis. They're good friends of mine. We're going on our main run with. They're pretty much like a '90s brutal death metal New York style band. They're pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another good one is Cerebral Hemorrhage. The
Mm.
drummer and guitarist put out one record many decades ago, and they're playing live again. They're pretty sweet. Check out their album. It's pretty heavy. It's got some really sweet riffs on it. Um, Gorelust, I mentioned, they're pretty sweet. Same thing for Regurgitation. If you know who the fuck they are, I don't know. It's one of the coolest covers. Be back. I'm gonna go grab it.
Okay. Hope you guys are enjoying the interview. I'll put an edit over here. Regurgitation.
Okay, so for any grasshoppers that don't know Regurgitation, they put out one of the better death metal records ever, Tales of Necrophilia.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it gets banned.
Oh shit. Oh no. Are you trying to get me demonetized? I'll have to. I mean, not
Yeah.
that I'm gonna get modded. I mean, I just, I might need to just censor that just for YouTube, but I mean, it's probably not a big deal, but
Hey, I got a question for you.
what's up?
Nothing. I'm just going to show the album cover.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's some seriously heavy shit, and it's been around since the '90s.
I think I think everyone does. At least I think at least everyone in the death metal has probably at least heard of regurgitation. Although I'm not sure people have actually listened to it.
Probably, but I'm still spreading the word of them.
Yeah, if you got yeah, that's you got to do your part. All right, all right. Let's we're on the wire. We're at the end of the string over here. So let's see. Any advice for people starting a metal band?
Yeah, don't be lazy. You got to put in the work, and you gotta get your shit out there. Don't be afraid of recording. You got to get over that shit eventually. You got to find a way to be comfortable, hopefully in a non-hard drug way. So I know people get anxious, people have anxiety when they record. They see that light turn green and they don't know what to do and they freeze up. But that's what practice is for, man. So don't skimp out on practicing. Don't skimp out on writing, whether it's music or lyrics, because you got to get your shit out there. And in an age where everyone is putting out their releases and putting out their heart to the world as far as putting out releases, no matter how you release shit, keep working. Don't get down on yourself. You know, there's other avenues. You can put your music out there. You can get PR like we did. It gets your word across the whole world. You can get some really cool opportunities. We've even been in magazines across Europe too, which is pretty sweet. Um, Honestly, I think you can only go as far as you want to, because I'm sure I could have found different members and taken this like around the world already, but we don't have those kind of financial means, so I can't do that. But if you want to take your band far, you got to put in the effort, and you can't expect other people to do that for you, like I've said several times already.
Seems like you might
So
be impressed with the results of your own work.
that's probably the best way to put it without me talking for another 5 minutes, because man, you can only go as far as hard as you want to work. If you don't want to work hard, your music won't get as far and get into more hands of people. So you have to push yourself and you have to be uncomfortable. You can't do this how you want it. You have to go to as many local shows as you can and promote your shit.
You can't be passive.
No. So you can be choosy, yes, but you can't be too choosy. I'm not saying like you're going to your local bar's jazz night and pushing a death metal release. Like that shit's not going to fly.
All right. So, all right. Well, that's actually probably great for I mean, a lot of people like you have to tell them you have to. I've said this before. You have to suffer through sucking at it before you can actually
Yeah.
get to a point where you're actually getting recognition and getting making a name for yourself. So yeah, definitely something that's
Yeah.
definitely true.
Oh, yeah. If you want to hear a quick funny story, when I
What's
had
up?
my rock project in my early 20s, there was a cool little club around here called Broadway Joe's, a shithole, but they brought in the sickest tours. I even saw cattle decapitation there. So one night I did get drunk enough and handed out some of my songs that I recorded. And if you know the thrash band Evil, they came around here on their only tour to North America, and I handed it to the members of the band.
Oh, and did they like it?
No, they were totally weird and confused. I'm like, I get it, dude. You don't even know who the fuck I am, but I still tried, even if they all live in Britain.
Oh, no, I mean at least they know you exist now.
Yeah, but that project doesn't exist, thankfully, because, dude, I cannot sing worth a fuck.
Well,
But that just proves, you got to get uncomfortable before you get comfortable, dude. So
all right. Well, that's definitely true. All right, so we're almost there. So, what are your musical plans for the near and distant future? Like when you said you were planning on having an album come out, but you have an ETA on that, or that's just gonna happen when it happens?
I'm guessing it like the earliest later next year.
Hmm. So
Um,
late, so like about a year from now.
Maybe the end of 26, the earliest.
Hmm. Okay.
Our guidebook's out pretty far in advance, so it kind of depends how much we can do. But if anything, maybe in a couple of years, maybe early 27. But it depends on like when his availability is and when we get shit done. And I don't think it should be any worse than like January of 2027.
Yeah. I mean, at least you can't rush art.
No, but it will kill us, dude. So
Right. So you were saying? What were we saying? I
what were we talking about again? I swear I don't
We're-
have short-term
the
memory.
musical plans. We were talking about like you want the
Okay.
album by 2027
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So we're taking it as like, we're going to go in and record a couple of EPs. So we're aiming for like 10, 12 songs. So I'm hoping it's no more than like 6, 8 sessions tops. Because when we've gone in and recorded, even our first EP actually was nice. We only did that in a couple of days. We didn't need an extra day. So, um, yeah, I would guess sometime later next year going into 2027. But when we get our first batch of songs, we're gonna already like decide which ones we're gonna want as singles to put out from it. So I would like a new song out in like the early summer, maybe late spring, depending on when we get studio time.
Yeah, it's
Because
close to
we're
the
gonna only try to do 4 or 5 songs at a time and pretty much, like I said, treated as like two EP recordings.
Yeah. Is studio time expensive?
Oh, the guy we're working with, no, it's actually fucking amazing, believe it or not. And
Oh,
he's been doing this for a while. He's a hardcore legend in Western New York.
oh, okay. Well, it's good. Nice you have that little perk then.
Yeah. He recorded a lot of extreme metal bands, but like did a lot of records for hardcore bands in the area. And just done all kinds of like rock shit too, and a lot of other different styles, but like really good with heavy music and didn't even change his rate through COVID, dude. He only cost like 250, 260 bucks in that
For
area for like an 8 hour day. So it's
oh,
actually
that's really
relatively
good.
affordable. And he obviously is an engineer, producer, and I can even tell you all the times he actually offered, try this, and we took his advice every time.
Mm.
So he is a producer, hardcore, hands-on.
Sounds like a real stand-up dude.
Oh, Doug White rules, dude. He actually recorded a lot of solid bands in his day too. He recorded the Gym Class Heroes and actually got asked to record Between the Buried and Me as Alaska and couldn't do it because he had the Gym Class Heroes booked.
Mm. All right.
And he knows the Corpse guys and
Oh wow,
um
he's been everywhere.
recorded one of the guys in Guire's side projects. Um he's worked with a lot of reputable artists and gave us some fucking Corpse rehearsals from the early 90s when I was like 3, 4 years old,
Wow,
which is
that's
pretty crazy.
man, you're working. It must be amazing working with like someone who's like that much of a
Oh
legend.
yeah. He actually shit. Fuck it. He actually showed us some shit before rest in peace Brett Hoffman died. He was like working on like a hardcore project
Uh,
and he showed us like his last recordings that he did before he passed away from cancer.
oh, it's always that's pretty sad. Well, that was nice.
Um,
You get to see hear that.
it was cool to hear. So, he showed us some cool shit, like I've already said. So, in the solo for the song Bludgeon and Brutalized, he told me to actually play a guitar solo for that long in the song through the end of the song.
Mm,
He gave us a bunch of ideas on the first EP that we went with. Like the intro for Chopped Up Chum. Well, I just played the guitar open just to showcase like some kind of like angst or like uncomfortableness before the verse riff kicks in.
mm-hmm.
That was his idea. And the breakdown at the end of Salt the Wound, the first rhythm was his idea because I had the same rhythm for like 12 bars and he told me to change it up.
Mm,
So he gave me this different rhythmic pattern and we added that to the song. So it's comfortable to say he's been a really big, important fifth member of our band. And at that time, the third member.
mm.
He's given us all kinds of ideas and we took every single one and it's turned out great.
He seems like an
So
indispensable part now.
yeah. So he's affordable and does so much where he could easily be charging like double for an 8 hour block.
Oh, man, that's it. You leave. Looks like you struck gold with that.
Yeah, we're staying with him until he retires, so not gonna go anywhere.
That's great. And also, so do you have any live shows coming up?
Yeah, we have a run we're going on May. We haven't announced yet. We got a 5 band package and a 6 band joining us for our New York dates.
Hmm.
And an April show in Buffalo that has not been announced yet. So I can't say until everything's confirmed, but our first show will be in April
No.
as far as next year goes. But if we get something in the meantime, we might. We've been offered shows, but our drummer hasn't felt confident enough to play a 30-minute set minimum for us. So,
Yeah, gotta do what you gotta do. Hey, he'll
we
he'll he'll improve, right?
oh yeah, he's been doing great, but he doesn't want to feel weird or mess shit up live when the three of us are tied on to the music that we wrote
Mm,
and him feel a little off. So,
mm.
if 3/4 of your 4 piece band is feeling solid and one isn't, that just kind of throws shit
Yeah,
off.
especially if it's like as foundational as the drummer, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any intentions to come down to New York City, or maybe
Oh
not?
yeah. We wanted to last year.
Mm,
We're gonna get on the Sick Fest at Diablo. Called it was called like El Diablo, Del Diablo. It was at the bunker in like Long Island or somewhere out that way.
mm,
But a couple of the guys weren't up for it after I was like booking that shit in the fall time.
mm.
So it was a show at the bunker that had like coronary thrombosis that I mentioned, and Torturous Inception played that, and Sick Bay played that. Um, shit. Those are like some of the bigger bands. But I wanted Torturous and Coronary on there, and the promoter got them on there. And then, a couple of our guys had cold feet, so
Mm.
we had to back out of that, unfortunately. So but we will get back down there.
All right, I
Um,
hope so. If you do, I will be the first in line to that show.
cool. I got you, man.
All right, thanks. All right, cool. So, final question. Any closing words from Dave?
Yeah, listen to our band. We've got a lot of shit coming out. We have an album we're working on called Gorging on Fatal Remains, and it's gonna be insanely sickening and perverse, and that's just the way we like it. That's the way death metal should be. So look out for that in the next year and a half or so from now, maybe less. And yeah, as soon as we got music and shit, dude, we'll probably be posting that album art in the next like 4 or 5 months when we got music down.
All
And
right.
let me tell you, it's a pretty sick tribute to Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure everyone else is looking forward to that. All right,
Hell yeah. We'd like to be
Dave.
canceled like Corpse was for Tomb of the Mutilated.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's it. I'm now. I can't. Now I'm at the edge of my seat. All right.
Dude, if that shit got banned in some areas, dude, it would be an honor to have our cover banned. So,
Get it banned in Germany. I
yeah,
think
somewhere,
they've
man.
relaxed their restrictions a little bit, but I'm not sure.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, check us out. We got videos to watch. We got merch to buy. We got our music up on Bandcamp. You can buy CDs, shirts, pins, patches, hoodies that we used to have, but we'll be printing some up soon. Um, yeah, and we got some pretty disgusting new designs. We're going to be in Buffalo, this thing called the Buffalo Horror Garage Sale, and we have three new designs coming up for that. Couple pretty dank looking ones too. So
Dang.
I'm excited to release those. And when it drops, you can definitely pre-order or order the shirt through Brutal Mind whenever that gets put up on their website in the next month, hopefully, if you live outside the United States. But if you live in the United States, wait for us to put it on Bandcamp so you can save on shipping fees.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well. All right. Anything else?
No, that's all I got right now. Thanks
All
for
right.
having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Dave, you have been fantastic. I want to thank you for joining me. I want to thank everyone else for listening. And yeah, stay tuned for the next episode of Red's Amazing Podcast. All right. Everyone else, you can fuck off now.